All right, absolute IM2 classes. Today we are starting off with solving absolute value equations. So the last lesson we did was a review of solving equations. We're going to use those skills today to solve absolute value equations. So starting off, absolute value. The definition of it, the math definition is how the distance from zero. So how far this is from zero. Absolute value has two solutions when you're doing this. One's gonna be positive, one's gonna be negative. To solve this one, it's real simple. We just need to get rid of the absolute value brackets. If you think of this on a number line, how far n can be anything that has a distance away from zero of 7. So n could either be a positive 7 or it could be a negative 7. So these are all going to have two solutions, one positive, one negative. Again, it's one positive, one negative because that is the distance from 0. So when we are doing this to solve, I'm going to put in my uh, line of separation. Solving, you solve like a normal equation. I want to get rid of the 4 on the bottom, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. Times 4 divided by 4 cancels out, and I'm left with just the absolute value of x is equal to 5 times 4 is 20. And now, like we did last time, there's can be two solutions. So x is anything that has a distance from 0 of 20. So there are two things that are 20 away from 0. Positive 20, or it could be negative 20. Either or. Actually, I like writing it like this, where you write the x twice. I know it's slightly more, but here, that's going to help us when we get to a little bit further on. So two solutions, positive 20, negative 20. Here, our equation is just two steps. So I'm going to take care of the minus one first. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Minus 1 plus 1 cancels out. So we're left with 6 times the absolute value of n is equal to 36. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 6. Times 6 divided by 6 cancels out, and you get the absolute value of n is equal to 36 divided by 6 is 6. So when we're doing this, now what numbers are 6 away from 0? There's two solutions. It is positive 6 or it can be negative 6. Right. Here, this is different now because the our operators, these things we are doing are inside the absolute value. So this is a little bit different. So 8 plus p is equal to absolute value 12. We need to separate out that absolute value first before we solve. And so actually, I'm not going to put in this line of separation. So 8 plus p has a distance away from 0, distance of 12 away from 0. So 8 plus p could either be a positive 12 or it can be a negative 12. So once you have that, now we have two equations that we need to solve. First, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. So here, p is equal to 12 minus 8 is 4. Over here, I'm going to subtract 8 on this one. And be careful, negative 12 minus 8, that becomes a negative 20. So notice how it's not positive 4, negative 4. It's not positive 20, negative 20. It's positive 4 and negative 20. So the numbers are different. But if we were to plug those back into here, those both would be able to give us that distance away from 0 of 12. So here, when your stuff is inside the absolute value brackets, your answers are going to be very different. Right? So this one here, I'm going to separate it out. So x divided by 4 has a distance from 0 of 1. So it can be x divided by 4 can be positive 1 or it can be negative 1. To solve, it's the same first step. I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. I'll do that over here just to save time. Uh, Times 4 divided by 4 cancels out. So x 1 times 4 is going to be 4. So x can be a positive 4. Here, 4 times 4 divided by 4 cancels out. And so you get x is equal to a negative 4 on that side. So that one does work out where it's positive 4, negative 4, but that's only when it's only division on the inside. A little bit more complicated one. It's more steps. I don't actually need the line of separation yet. So I'm going to separate this out first. 9 plus 7k can be positive 9, or 9 plus 7k can be negative 9. And then I'm going to solve these two equations separately. So I'm going to start off, take care of this 9. Oh, hit the wrong color. That's okay. Uh, Positive 9 minus 9 is 0. That cancels out. So we get 7k is equal to 9 minus 9 is 0. And then I'll stick with blue because I use it there. Again, divide by 7 times 7, divide by 7, cancels out. And you get k is equal to 0. Over here, it's the same two steps. I'm going to start off by subtracting 9. Positive 9 minus 9 cancels out over here. You get 7k is equal to negative 9 minus 9 is negative 18. And then I'm going to divide by 7 times 7 divided by 7 cancels out. And you get k. For this, just leave it as a fraction. If it reduces, you can reduce it. But just leave it as a fraction there. That's going to be the easiest thing. Negative 18 over 7. Right? Um, Moving on. So here, this will be the last one that I'll do. So here we need to eliminate everything outside the brackets before we separate our two equations. So we have a times 8 and a minus 2 outside the brackets. So I'm going to take care of those things first. So my first step is going to be adding 2 to both sides. Minus 2 plus 2 cancels out. So you're left with 8 times 4 plus x, absolute value of 4 plus x is equal to 48. I know a lot of you are going to be tempted to distribute, but you can't distribute inside the absolute value. So the step you have to do here is divide both sides by 8 to eliminate that 8, get rid of it from that side. So times 8 divided by 8 cancels out. You get absolute value of 4 plus x is equal to 48 divided by 8 is 6. And so now everything outside of the absolute value has been eliminated. Now I can separate it into my two separate equations. Do it over here. 4 plus x is equal to 6, and 4 plus x is equal to negative 6. Solve each of these. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. Positive 4 minus 4 is 0, cancels out. You get x is equal to 2. This one over here, minus 4 from both sides. Positive 4 minus 4 cancels out. You get x is equal to negative 6 minus 4 is negative 10. So just be careful with those. Eliminate everything outside and then finish solving. That'll do it for us today. Next time, we will be graphing absolute value functions, and we'll see you then.